Before I start this lesson, I'd like to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim, Rakakwadash, the bond to the apostle, elders, great men, son, rule and teach well. Shalom to 144,000 men that's pitching and believing this word in all true sincerity and sacrificing their lives and wills to do so. Shalom to the men, women, and children that's tuning in and listening. And shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad on all four corners of the earth. The Heavenly Father's name is Yahweh, his only begotten Son, name is Yahweh Shai. And Lord, one of these videos edifying, quick and straight to the point. This video will be entitled Unbelievers shall wax worse and worse. And recently, Monday afternoon, I've seen a video recently. Well, if you haven't seen it by now, Judge Joe Brown does not believe the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the Israelites. Now, it's funny because he's a Negro himself. He's of the tribes himself. And, you have a lot of these unbelievers. A lot of these unbelievers are the same, are of our same nation, of the Israelites. You have more unbelievers and those that you have more unbelievers of our own nation than the heathen, it seems like, in most cases, because a lot of these Israelites don't like to hear, that they're the chosen people. And ultimately, regardless or not, if you're Israelite, you're Israelite. You can't un-Israelite yourself. You can't you can't be another nation, Now, Jake going to be wishing there was going to be the elect pretty soon, because the things that's about to happen, these calamities that's about to happen on the earth is going to be horrendous and terrible. So I'm going to start from Romans chapter 3, verse 3. So, let me go there first. This is Romans chapter 3, verse 2. Actually, no, verse 3. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh Bashim al-Shai without effect? And a lot of the people that don't believe is our own people. A lot of these people that don't believe are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that went into slavery. And he said he's seen slave ships on the bottom of the sea or whatnot, and cargo slave ships. There's literally evidence. You have evidence that, that ultimately we did go into slavery, regardless of what anybody has to say about it. It's not fiction, it's fact, And I was going to read this article, too. Forgotten Slavery, the Arab and Muslim Slave Trade. And, these small hats made stupid money off of the slave trade, So I'm going to just read a little bit of this, and then I'm going to get back to the precepts. Over the years, global attention and discussion on slavery has primarily focused on the transatlantic slave trade. And, the transatlantic slave trade was literally Negroes going from 3 points from Europe to Africa to America, that we was being sold, and that's proof in the scriptures that we went into slavery to be sold to our enemies, dominated by American and European merchants, and ultimately European merchants, because a lot of those slave, ultimately a lot of those small hats was involved. A lot of these other heathens was involved. These so-called Muslims was involved too. So for you, Jake, that's involved in Islamic religious practices, y'all need to realize and y'all need to start questioning your practice. Your practice sold slaves, which was you. However, another equally significant trade has been largely overlooked, in some cases treated as a taboo subject. Despite its profound impact on Africa, it is people in their way of life across generations. So ultimately, everything that's going on, that you had a sub-Saharan slave trade and a transatlantic slave trade. The Arab Muslim slave trade, also known as trans-Sub-Saharan or Eastern slave trade, is recognized as the longest in history, Slovakia, spanning over 1,300 years. It has forcibly removed millions of Africans from their homeland, subjecting them to brutal conditions while they labor in foreign lands. And yeah, that's what all of Jake went through. They was subject. Well, that's the curses too as well. But we went to other lands. We got taken by force, not because we wanted to, by force to these other nations in unknown lands. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that in Deuteronomy real quick, because ultimately there is undisputable evidence that the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and the Americans went into slavery. When the conquistadors came over here, what you think the name conquistador means? Conqueror. They conquered Northern Kingdom. Esau Edom conquered and devastated Southern Kingdom. Northern Kingdom got it first, and Southern Kingdom got it worse, as they say, as we say. So I'm gonna go to Deuteronomy chapter 20. What is it? 28. The Deuteronomy chapter 20. Oh shit, or 24:7. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, and verse. I'll start. What verse I had? Verse 65. Actually, no. I started verse 60. Verse 64. The Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people. And yeah, we was taken by force and scattered. 70 AD, we got our ass beat. Now, obviously, Jake was going through shit after 70 AD, but, we got our ass kicked repeatedly in history. And there's physical evidence of this. And then not even just that. You don't even, let's not be carnal for a second. We don't need the physical evidence. We have spiritual evidence. We have this book, and it's written for you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. This book is your history. The Bible that sits on your nightstand or in the drawer of the hotel, from Genesis all the way to Revelations, is your history. And Jake don't like to go into their history and be like, oh, this kind of resembles my life. Oh, this kind of resembles, and not just resembles, this is my history. Jake don't like to hear thereof the nation of Israel. They have great leaders. We have King David, King Solomon, and Sam, and so many. We have leaders. We'd had leaders, great leaders. We have Moses. We had all of that. We have great prophets. We have kings that obviously was there before us. They're great individuals. They're great in our history. From one end of the earth, even unto the other. Yeah, and we are literally. Oh, that's why Israel. You can't tell how many. You can't. Ultimately, you cannot count the number of Israelites. Israel is the sand of the sea, because literally after 70 AD. Now Jake always moved to other places and cities and all that, but 70 AD. When those Israelites fleed into the mountains and listened to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Yahweh Shai when he was on the scene, through Yahweh. Yahweh through Yahweh Shai. So ultimately, Jake scattered all in Europe. It wasn't just Africa. Now, bulk of them was in Africa, but you had Israelites in Europe. You had Israelites in Asia. You had Israelites everywhere. You have Israelites scattered abroad everywhere. There thou shalt serve other gods, neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And that's pretty simple. It's not that hard to understand. And these nations shall find and among these nations shall thou find no ease. And yeah, we quite literally have not found no rest. We have not found rest. And the Judge Joe Brown, he a sellout. So he think he getting that rest. He got his consolation prize. That's why he said that. He getting his money worth. But soon that's going to come crashing and burn. You're going to be just like us. Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest. That's quite literal too. We work constantly. Slaving every day just to pay bills. Slaving every day to get what we need. But the Lord Yahweh shall give thee There a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind, and yet constantly going through things, constantly suffering, constantly having bills, constantly worry, not just worrying and thinking like, damn, if this don't happen, this gonna happen. That's quite literally what we're going through. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night. And yeah, we worried about our life day and night. And shall have no assurance of thy life. And yeah, we don't have no assurance of our life. We don't know if we're gonna live or die. We don't know if this is gonna be our last day or not. This is what it's like being under captivity. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what your next day gonna hold. You could be, just as an example, you could go to work one day, and you have a decent day at slavery at work. Next day, you fire without any reason. Now you got to look for another job. Now you suffering, don't know what to do, and you got bills coming up. That's a curse. That ain't nothing to be proud of. That ain't. And you notice that Judge Joe Brown, like I said, he sold out. He has his consolation prize. Most of these individuals that come up against those that are teaching the truth, Anti Davis, for example, he got his consolation prize. He got money, and you can't speak for the rest of Israel because a lot of Israelites don't got money like that. Jake catch a hell regardless. And then not even just that. You still gonna catch hell regardless if you sold out or not. You can fall just like any other man. And by any other man, I mean any other Israelite man. You could fall, all of that. So ultimately, that statement he made was unfactual. It wasn't a spirit. It wasn't spiritually mature, a spiritually mature statement. So now I'm gonna go to Joe. Yeah, because it's written all over in history. There's no reason why Jake should be sick. And even Jake in the world can acknowledge the simple fact that, you got 2/3 acknowledging the fact that they're Israelites. And they just stop there. Now, granted, I'm not giving, I'm going to say this. You have 2/3 that acknowledge, Israelites did go through slavery. Oh, yeah, you have 2/3 even agreeing with what is being said in his book. And they're 2/3. So how much more so you? So this is Joel chapter 3. I'll start at verse. It's a little lengthy. I'll start at verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Hawashaphat and will plead with them there for my people and my heritage, and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And yeah, you know how you're a slave. You know how you're a slave and conquered because you're not in your own land. You subject to payment. Actually, I get that too. Subject to payments. Let me see. Yeah, this is Baruch, and this even written in Apocrypha. Like, man. But these unbelievers, they gonna just wax worse and worse. You have it like they say, it be your own people. This is Baruch chapter 3 and verse 8. Oh damn, verse 7 good too. But I get straight to the point. Verse 8, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us. And yeah, we have yet this day in still captivity. This was written way back in the time of Jeremiah and whatnot. So how much more so now, under this new Babylonian empire, under this new ruler, for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Ashai, our power. And yeah, that's just plain and simple. We're subject to payments. We're still in captivity. We're still suffering. We're still being taken advantage of. And the Lord's going to, and I just grab it. Verse 3, and they have cast lots for my people and given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for a wine. And yeah, men and women is getting sold left and right. They had slave auctions. Do you know what an auction is? This is when the highest bidder get the best product that they got. They sold us. They sold men. They sold women. They broke it. You know how even in school when you was a kid. Now, granted, when I was in school, now I'm not that. I'm obviously not that old. You know, I'm in my young 20s, in my early 20s. Even in school, when they brought this topic up, you could feel the tension in the room. You could feel like, damn, everybody looking at you. When they brought this up, everybody got quiet. Everybody was like, "Oh shit!" And by everybody saying, "Oh shit," I mean all the Edomites, all the heathen, like, "Oh shit!" And that was the spirit too, because back then when that was being told in school, they brought up slave auctions. The best looking slave would get sold to the highest bidder. That's literally what we went through. And individuals could say, "Oh, we're not the Israelites." It's a blasphemous statement. Verse 4. Now, this is the point. Yeah. And what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily I will return your recompense upon your own head. And yeah, this the Lord telling the heathen, like, hey, I'm about to recompense my people. The Lord, when Yahushua come back, he coming back for his recompense and the recompense of the children of Israel. And Israelites gonna get it too. Those these people, Judge Joe Brown is basically one of those Pharisees. Not basically, he could be one in a reincarnation, one of those scribes and Pharisees that didn't believe in the Lord and had a seat in the Roman system. And no, he has a seat in the Roman system. He's a celebrity. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold and carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem, which is Israel, so that's all 12 tribes, have ye sold into the Grecians, that they might remove them far from the border. And the elder Kozak in Mississippi, he did a video. I remember it. He did a video, The Door No Return. It was a big a land post or whatnot. Slaves used to walk through that, and you telling me we was taken by happiness and joy? You know, they have slave ships where they're divided families. You never knew when the last time you want to see your family again. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. And ultimately, we are the Israelites, regardless of a 2/3 says it or not. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and get too angry about it, because at the end of the day, he's an unbeliever. There's no point in getting mad at him. He's going to die and suffer anyway. He's marked. But Lord willing, I'm going to go ahead and close out. But Lord willing, this video is edifying. Before I close out, I'd like to give our praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rukakwadash. Lord willing, this video is edifying, and on to the next one. Shalom.